Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Love Queendom. Today, we're going to be talking about how to let your energy do the work for you. And this is an extremely important topic, especially when it comes to advanced forms of manifestation, which is really what I like to focus on here on my platform, and that is reality creation, okay? And in case you're wondering what the difference is, in my opinion, between reality creation from the perspective that I'm looking at it from versus manifestation, which is has become a very mainstream topic that a lot of people teach, is creating a reality is not just about materializing a specific thing or a specific outcome. A reality is actually how your life feels and how everything in your life unfolds for you, okay? So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you want to manifest a house, okay? Now, you can manifest that house, and how that thing materializes for you can be a very difficult experience, meaning that you will struggle to save your down payment. You may struggle to close on the house, have enough money to get everything done. And then maybe by the time the house is officially yours, you struggle to maintain the house, maybe you struggle to pay the mortgage, you struggle to pay all the bills, you end up having all of these issues with the house, maybe repairs need to be done and all this stuff that you didn't plan for. And so what that is a reflection of is that you're not in a good reality. Okay, you were able to get something that you wanted, you manifested something, but how that manifestation actually feels for you is not good, okay? And so what I teach here on my platform is how to project out a reality where on a moment-to-moment basis, all the time, whether you have the things that you're materializing or not, your reality feels good. Everything is flowing easily for you. It's seamless. It's nice. It's joyous. Okay. It's abundant. It's easy. This is really what putting yourself in a good energy can do for you. And this is what I want to talk about on today's episode. Okay. So I've broken this episode up into 3 parts. So the first one is I'm going to quickly talk about the importance of working on your energy, which I just touched on a little bit with the example that I gave. And then I'm going to talk about how do you actually shift your energy, okay? And finally, I will end with some recent examples from my own life, okay, my own reality, to show you guys that this stuff is really real, okay? And if you really commit to doing the work on yourself, understanding the mechanisms of how this reality works, how you can shift and control your own personal reality, you can also start experiencing just a really nice, easy, positive life that feels good for you. And that's what I want for everybody, okay? Now, if you're new here, okay, this is the Love Queendom, and this is a space of love and joy and peace and abundance, okay, and all the good things. And if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so you don't miss future episodes. And thank you so much for joining us at the Love Queendom. Shout out to my 10 subscribers at the time of recording this episode. So let's get right into it. So first of all, why is it important for you to work on your energy? Okay. Now, I've talked on my platform before about the differences between like 3D, 4D, and 5D people on Earth and how they perceive reality differently, okay? Now, if you are someone who is still very in a 3D level of consciousness, what that means is that your perception of reality is everything is physical. The non-physical is kind of conceptual to you, but it's not really something tangible that you know how to maneuver and understand. And since your perception of reality is that everything is separate from you, you have a belief that in order to obtain things in this physical reality, in order to do things, you have to use physical force in order to get things done, which means that you always have to be thinking with your, conscious mind how to plan things out. You always have to be using some type of action to get things done, right? And that is literally taking up your physical life force energy. Okay. And we all know that we have a limited amount of our physical life force energy. You know, our bodies need rest. We can't push our bodies past a certain limit without, literally physically collapsing and dying. So there is a limitation when you don't learn how to work with your mind to project out a desirable reality for you that is easy. So when you go to do something or achieve something or attain something, how that actually unfolds for you in the physical is not difficult, okay? It doesn't feel hard. And this requires you to shift your perception of reality away from everything is separate from me to everything appears separate. Okay, everything in terms of my physical perception is separate and everything looks solid and unchanging, kind of, to everything is more of an illusion of separation. And on an energetic, non-physical perspective, I am actually connected to everything and I am actually able to shift things around in the physical because it is just an energetic illusion, okay, that is making it seem as if it's solid and unchanging. I can actually shift these things around energetically if I learn how to do that, okay? And in learning how to do that, my life and how my reality feels can be easier for me. Now I'm not relying solely on my physical capacity to achieve things, okay? I am tapping into higher powers now that are unlimited in order to assist me in shifting around reality in a way that is desirable for me, okay? So again, it's extremely important that we learn how to do this, because if you're working in a framework of limited energetic capacity, meaning that you're only perceiving things from the physical ability, right? There are limitations on what you can actually do and what you can actually create and experience for yourself, because number one, it's going to be limited also to what you can already kind of perceive in the physical. You're not really going to be able to think that something that you haven't seen before in the physical is even possible. And then, like I said, your perception of how you actually attain things is based on trying and doing in the physical, as opposed to, shifting energy and then allowing it to happen in the physical without you having to exert a lot of physical energy trying to make something happen. So that's a big reason why this is important. Now, how exactly do you do this, right? Like, how can I shift my energy so that my life actually becomes easier and things start unfolding for me in a nicer way? So I have a video on my YouTube channel. It's called Ascension Program version 1.0. And what that Ascension Program is it is a combination of affirmations that are essentially belief programs that you can download into your subconscious mind by listening to them on a frequent basis. I recommend doing this like 8 to 10 hours a day at a minimum. But I also recommend, if you are able to listen to this for as many as maybe 20 hours a day, if you can, like 15 to 20, if you can. But really, I would say the minimum is like 8 hours a day. And the reason why you want to do this, okay, is because the mechanics of how this physical reality, which is really like an illusion, okay, because we're in an energetic hologram, the reality of the mechanics on how this stuff works is that every single individual person is projecting out their own reality on a moment-to-moment basis, okay? And this is happening like faster than like a microsecond, okay? So it's happening super fast, and everything that is being projected out in those instantaneous moments is based on the programs that you're running in your subconscious mind. And those programs are putting you into a certain feeling, okay? And that feeling that you're in is what determines how your reality unfolds for you, what you're actually capable of experiencing in this physical reality, okay? So if you want to shift to a higher timeline, to a higher level reality, or to a version of reality that is better, that feels nicer, where everything is unfolding for you, you know, just in your day-to-day life in an easy way, those moment by moment instantaneous projections are nice. That means that as much as possible, you have to be keeping your mind, okay, your state of consciousness in that kind of positive energy until it sticks in your mind and that becomes your new normal for yourself. And then from there, you really would kind of only just be doing sort of maintenance to keep yourself in that energy. So this is why I recommend, you know, listening to the affirmation programs as much as you can, so that you're really pushing your mind to get you, you know, projecting out a higher level reality on a moment to moment, you know, basis. And I don't want you guys to think that if you do this, you know, like people talk about timeline surfing and, you know, reality shifting and that kind of stuff. And I think maybe some people have a perception that, like, let's say if you listen to the affirmations while you're sleeping, that you're going to wake up in some sort of alternate reality where everything is super different. Like, you don't have your friends anymore. Everything just starts collapsing and shifting, and like your reality is totally different. It doesn't really work like that, okay? Things shift in a very seamless way, right? It shifts in a seamless way. But if you are in an energy that is very, very low compared to the energies that are contained in the Ascension program, because there's a lot of love energy in there, self-worth, and, you know, positive stuff in there. So if your natural frequency that you're in right now is drastically different from that, internally you may feel jarred, but externally your reality is going to be shifting very gently, actually, okay? So things don't just drastically shift, like you don't just like all of a sudden lose your friends and stuff like that. You know, these things can happen, but I just want you to know that in practice, it's typically, you know, what is happening is that you're shifting yourself internally, which can feel jarring, and you can feel these kind of up and down spikes in your mood and how you feel as your mind and your body is normalizing at this higher level feeling. But in terms of your outer reality and how quickly that shifts, there is a time delay, right? And so you'll still have all of your friends and all of your normal life, like your life will basically be the same. But your reality, you will feel different over time. And then that shift in how you feel will gradually shift things outside of you, okay? And so everyone in your reality will still be there. Everything in your reality will still be there. The dynamics of your relationships with people may shift, but like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. It's very gradual, and it really almost feels natural, you know? Like, you might wake up one day in like 6 months after doing this and realize that you haven't spoken to a certain person in quite a while. And that's just because, you know, that is how your reality has shifted to conform to your new state of consciousness, your new frequency, your new way of being. but it's not going to feel bad or jarring, right? It's just like, oh, my reality has shifted. And so while you're doing this, I also very strongly recommend you pay attention, observe your reality and how you're feeling and how things around you may be changing, because this stuff is also very, very subtle. So again, when people talk about, timeline shifting and stuff, you can shift your timeline while you're sleeping by listening to these affirmations. But if you wake up and you don't really notice the subtleties in shifts in terms of how people respond to you and how things may become easier for you and stuff like that, you would do this work on yourself and your consciousness will actually change. Who you are subconsciously, energetically, actually completely is a different person, and your reality is completely different. But it's so subtle that if you're not paying it close attention and just becoming an observer, you won't notice it. And then I think sometimes that can also cause people to maybe give up or feel like this stuff doesn't work or whatever, simply because they're not simultaneously becoming an observer of themselves and an objective observer of their reality while they're doing this, okay? And that is also a very important part of you being able to control your reality consciously. You have to get yourself to a point in perception where you can observe the state of your mind. Like, what am I thinking about? And how am I thinking about this stuff? Like, is my mind in a positive place? Is it in a negative place? Am I fearful? Am I anxious? Or am I calm? Am I happy? Am I positive, right? While I'm thinking about certain things. And noticing how your mind shifts from one state to another as you do this work on yourself, right? That requires you to observe yourself objectively. So this is also really important. And then observing your physical reality as well and how that shifts and how things are shifting around you. This is also you becoming an objective observer of your reality and not someone that is attaching to things, right? So the program, Ascension Program version 1.0 will help you do that, because it will really shift your energy to becoming fully self-sustaining. So you're not really feeling neediness and longingness for things outside of you. You still have desires for things you want to create and experience. But again, these things can come to you more easily and more seamless because your energy is better. So this is basically the basics of how you do it. You fill your mind, your subconscious mind, with higher level programs that help you to project out a better reality timeline, a reality that feels better. So on a moment-to-moment basis, as you're going about your life, as you're manifesting things, as you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, it feels good and things are easier. So in the house example that I gave in the beginning, if you do this energy work, instead of you struggling while you're manifesting that house to save your down payment, to close on the deal, to pay your mortgage and all the bills after you close on the house, everything just flows easily for you. So now it's like the down payment just comes through different sources that you weren't expecting. Maybe people around you start helping you with things or just being generous towards you. Like, honestly, this stuff, you guys, is so unpredictable how everything shifts around. It's really crazy. And it's literally beyond our human comprehension. So it actually is a little bit fun when you do become the observer to see how this stuff, really kind of shifts around for you. But yeah, it's like the actual moments that are unfolding for you as you go about your life, whether you're consciously trying to manifest something or you're just living your life. it's like easy, it's seamless, doors are opening for you and things are just working out in your favor because you're in a good energy. And I think one of the affirmations actually that I actually put in the Ascension program is that everything is easy for me, and stuff like that, right? So these are just kind of beliefs that help your reality to just be nicer and be easier, because again, we're moving away from using physical force and our physical life force energy to create things in the physical and to do things in the physical. There is a limitation with that. Now we are projecting out reality with our mind, which doesn't require any sort of physical force, we don't have to do anything physically, okay? The actions that we do take are basically what some people call inspired action. But even if we're doing these actions unconsciously, we're doing them from these higher level programs that have already said everything is easy for me. So when I go to take an action, it will then be easy for me, which is also preserving my life force physical energy, because I'm operating on a framework of everything being easy instead of everything being hard. So hopefully this, makes sense for you guys. But if you do have questions or whatever, send me an email or leave a comment. So yeah, this is basically how you do it, okay? You control your consciousness by changing the programs that you're operating from, changing the energy that you're operating from, okay? And a lot of people, especially in the spiritual community, they will talk about things like, eating fruits and vegetables or being out in the sun, to help raise your vibration and stuff like that. So those things aren't bad. The thing is that those things don't actually help you to reshape your consciousness, to reshape your thinking patterns, your beliefs in your mind, because that is what is controlling 98% of what you're experiencing on a moment-to-moment basis, is what is being held in your mind, because your mind is, the gateway to creation, the gateway to controlling your reality. So for me, again, this is just based on the framework that I work with, what I am really passionate about sharing with people and teaching people how to do in terms of truly claiming spiritual sovereignty in a way that is easy and makes sense and is powerful. Focus on your mind, okay? And everything else flows from that. Like even this idea of the kind of foods that we eat affecting us, if you shift your mindset to someone that loves themselves and values themselves and has a high self-worth, you will automatically become a person who gravitates more towards healthy food, right? And like stuff that's low vibrational and unhealthy won't even be like perceivable to you in your reality. You won't even think about that stuff, right? But it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because if you're in a good energy overall, like, from controlling your subconscious mind, even if you eat McDonald's or something one day as a treat for yourself, it's not going to like drag down your vibration or something. You know what I mean? Like that's not really what this is about. This is about claiming your creative sovereignty in terms of the reality that you are experiencing, that you are creating for yourself, by understanding the mechanisms of how your mind works, how that is connected to reality creation for yourself, for your community, for Earth as a whole. Okay? So now let me share with you guys some examples from my own life in the recent past, okay, like within the last month, I would say, how my energy work has really just been doing its thing, okay? Because I'm just living like such a easy and no stress, seamless, doors opening for me everywhere kind of reality. And I really love that for me. And I really want that for everyone else as well, okay? So basically, within the last month, I've been really busy actually. So I had been meaning to post a lot of content. I actually want to change the format of my YouTube portion of this program so that I'm showing myself physically. I will still be anonymous. I don't know for how long, but that's just something that my spirit has kind of impressed on me, that I should stay, kind of unknown for now. So yeah, I've been really busy, but recently I traveled to my hometown, and if anybody knows anything about being a first daughter in a Nigerian household, okay, it's like you are a second mom. So for me, while I was there, I was really busy, like cooking, cleaning, running errands, just doing stuff for my family, visiting extended family and stuff. So I hadn't really had a lot of time to do stuff. But the interesting thing is how I observed my reality being different this trip compared to other trips. And I've been doing energy work on myself now. This will be going on like 2 years that I've really been very aggressively listening to affirmations, positive affirmations, to help me shift up to a higher timeline, clear out stagnant energy, like lower energy, stabilize myself and stuff like that. Okay. And I'm noticing the changes in my reality. I literally now do this as an experiment and sit back and watch and see the energy working. So example number 1 was flying to my hometown from Toronto. Okay. I normally use like discount airlines, and those discount airlines, they only allow you to take like a personal item, which really should be maybe like a purse or a small backpack. Okay. So anything bigger than that you take onto the plane, you're supposed to pay for it. And then obviously if you check a bag, you have to pay. If you want, snacks or beverages on the plane, you have to pay. If you want to pick your seat, you have to pay. Okay. So it's very like bare bones, no frills type of flying. And I love it for me because it's allowed me to afford to like travel back and forth between Toronto and my hometown a lot easier. So basically this particular trip, I decided for myself that I was going to try and fly like as cheaply as possible, and I wasn't going to worry about, whether I got a bad seat because I didn't pick my seat ahead of time and whatever. I just didn't really want to like pay for that extra stuff this time around. And in the past, if I didn't pick my seat before I flew, I would always get put in like some annoying seat at the back of the plane, like in between 2 smelly people, or just some kind of annoying situation, So what I had started doing was I would pay to pick my seat. I would even pay for priority boarding. Like a lot of times I would travel with an extra bag, like a carry-on bag or a checked bag. So I would pay for that too. But this trip, I was like, I'm not paying for anything except for the flight. I'm going to take my normal bag that I take with me, which in the past, I have also had some hassles with them saying that my bag is too big to be a personal item and them wanting me to pay for it and stuff. But this particular time around, flying from Toronto to my hometown, I was able to only pay for the flight, didn't have any hassles with my bag, and I also got a really good seat on the plane without having to pay for it. So I was in the front of the plane in row 9. And another thing that happened too was, I guess sometimes the airline that I fly with, they charter other airlines to fly on their behalf. So I happened to be on one of those chartered flights, and this other airline actually does serve snacks and beverages complimentary for their passengers. So it was like I got the best flight deal that you could even imagine. I paid for nothing except for getting onto the plane with my free bag. I got a great seat. I got, free snacks and beverages. Like, it was just great. I loved it. And So it was a really nice experience. And I just felt that, this wasn't a coincidence, that this is a reflection of me being in my new reality that I have custom made for myself, where everything is easy and nice. Okay. But in order to test that this was actually my energy and not just me being lucky, I said, okay, on my way back to Toronto, let me test it again. Okay. I'm not going to pay for my bag, and I'm also not going to pay for a seat. Okay. And let's see if I get a good seat again. And let's see if they give me any hassles for my bag. And because my hometown is a smaller city, it's a smaller airport. So normally the people at that airport, they also kind of have more time to be checking these types of things. So very often they will check people's bags and tell them, like, if it doesn't fit in the little bin thing, it's too big, you have to pay for it, even at the gate. So I very confidently sat right in front of the gate agents with my bag that was way bigger than this required amount for a personal item. Did not have a tag on it that said I paid for it. And after I checked in, I very blessingly got a good seat. So I was in a good seat. So that was number one. I was able to manifest a good seat on the way back. I was in row 11 this time instead of row 9. And again, I didn't have to pay for that. And then they started making announcements about, checking the size of your bag and making sure that if you have more than one bag, you pay for it. And like, if your bag is too big, you're going to have to pay. They kept making these announcements over and over again. And I just sat there and I just looked and, watched, and I was like, this has nothing to do with me, okay? Because that's not my reality. Now, when they started boarding the plane, you guys, they actually started checking people's bags and asking people to turn around and let me see your bag. Go put your bag in the thing. If it doesn't fit, it's too big to be a personal item and you have to pay. Like, they were telling people this. I was seeing it right in front because I was sitting right by the check-in desk. Or the boarding gate, sorry. So I still sat there calmly, like, yeah, this has nothing to do with me. And then by the time it was my turn to board the plane, I gave them my boarding pass, gave them my ID. They scanned it. They said, okay, you're good to go. And off I went on to my free seat with my bag that was way too big to be a free personal item, to fly back to where I came from. And I love that for me. Okay. And again, I'm telling you guys that I didn't just get lucky. For me, I could have said, okay, maybe I just got lucky on the way there. But the fact that also happened where I got a good seat on the way back and I didn't get hassled about my bag, even though they were hassling other people, I think that just is a reflection that, you're in a frequency where these people literally don't notice you. Like, that type of negative stuff just doesn't happen to you, okay? Because you're not in that energy. So that is like the first example, okay? But the story gets even better than that. So while I was in my hometown, my sister decided that she wanted to come to Toronto for a little bit because we had a mutual friend who was visiting for his birthday. So she decided that she was going to go and celebrate his birthday with him too. So she was going to come and stay in my place. And then her friends also decided that, we want to come too. So now it's 3 girls who want to crash at my place. I also have a roommate. And the 3 of them could have fit in my place. My sister could have slept on my bed. And we have 2 couches in our living room. So her friends could have slept there. But then my cousin who also happened to be in Toronto already for some other stuff, also wanted to stay and decided to extend her trip for the fun too. So now it's 4 girls that want to be in my condo, with my roommate. And I was just like, this is way too many people. I don't know how I'm going to make this work. So I called my roommate and I told her that hey, my sister wants to come with her friends, for the weekend, blah, blah, blah. And she sounded a little bit annoyed, but she was like, you know what, whatever, it's fine. So I was like, it's fine. We'll just figure it out. I don't know how all these people are going to fit in my house, but we'll figure it out. So I have a cousin actually who's my neighbor. Like, she lives in, let's say, the twin building to my building. And she, obviously, because she's my cousin, she's related to, some of the people that were going to be coming for the trip. And so I asked her, like, hey, can some of the girls stay at your place so that my place isn't crowded? And for whatever reason, I guess she had felt like she wanted to have some boundaries around her place because she had hosted some of these girls before. And she just felt like they did things that she didn't like or whatever, which is fine. So she decided that she didn't want to open her place to anyone. So I was basically on my own, like, having to figure out how to house all of these people, these rowdy young girls in my house. And then, again, this is not a coincidence, you guys. The day before my sister was supposed to land in Toronto, which I wasn't going to be there when she first arrived, my roommate calls me and she tells me that, she actually wants to travel and go back home to visit her family. And she's probably going to be leaving tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, if you want to do that, sure. And then a few hours later, she sends me the confirmation that she's leaving. And so she ended up leaving the day that my sister arrived in Toronto. So my sister was able to stay in her room and have the place to herself for a few days. And then, my cousin came for a few nights. She was with my cousin. My cousin left to stay with some other friends. And then I came back. I arrived. I was in my room. And then a few days later, her friends came. And then they were there. And it just, everything worked out perfectly, there was enough room for everyone. I wasn't terribly inconvenienced either because, I had my room to myself. So everything worked out, there was more than one bathroom for everyone. So it wasn't this overly chaotic situation where I had all these girls in my place and, I was inconveniencing my roommate and there was just too much going on, It worked out perfectly. And literally, it was like my roommate just decided, I'm going to just travel, That wasn't even something on her radar at all. She had even been saying that wasn't something that she wanted to do anytime soon. And she literally just decided it and then went the next day, okay? And this was an international trip too. It wasn't even she went to another city in Canada. So anyways, that happened. Again, was that a coincidence or was that, my energy orchestrating my reality in my favor? I don't know. You tell me. And then let's talk about the last one. Okay. So the last one is that all these people that were in my house, my sister and her friends, and then my friend from the States who came to visit for his birthday, we all decided to go out on Saturday afternoon and we kind of did a fun activity together. And then we went for dinner after to this restaurant that you can kind of sit by the water and have nice views, right? Now, this restaurant, because it is by the water and it has nice views, it can get pretty busy. So we were a party of 7 and I really wanted for everyone's experience, us to have a nice view at the top of the restaurant where we're overlooking the water and everything. So I said in my mind, they're going to seat us upstairs and we're going to have a nice view. That was just what I, affirmed. They told us that we needed to kind of step aside from the line because they didn't have a table ready for us and they would let us know when it was ready. So we waited for a little bit longer than most people for a table. But eventually when we did get our table, you guys, we were upstairs, like I said, at a table with a nice view. And was that a coincidence, you guys? You tell me in the comments, okay? Because to me, it's looking like everything is working out for me because I'm running this program that is in my Ascension program, which you should go and listen to, that everything is easy for me, okay? And I think I even have one in there that's everything always works out for me. Can't remember. Okay. But I'm going to do more versions of this Ascension program. So that's why this one is version 1.0. But this is my evidence for you guys, okay, that things in your reality can work out beautifully and perfectly if you work on your energy, okay? And if you start pumping your mind with these higher level beliefs that allow your life to feel better, your reality to feel better. Because, it's like there are multiple timelines going on Earth right now, okay? And those timelines are happening simultaneously and they're overlapped on top of each other, okay? So the people who are in the higher frequencies, the higher timelines, we are still able to perceive each other. The people that are in the lower frequencies and stuff, we're still perceivable to each other. So our holograms are overlaid on top of each other. According to New Earth philosophy and let's say end times prophecy, at some point these timelines will split, and so we will no longer be perceivable to each other, and the lower Earth will kind of go off and destroy itself, and the higher Earth plane will be what it's meant to be, and it will continue to exist in a higher frequency, a higher dimension. It will be beautiful, right? So you can access that higher level Earth right now, but remember that reality is accessed through your mind because you're projecting out your hologram. So if your hologram isn't compatible with that hologram, you're not going to be able to experience it, right? So get yourself on that frequency, okay? Because my opinion is that I am on that higher frequency timeline, which is overlaid on the lower frequency timeline. And so I can still interact with all my friends and family, and because my reality is nicer, things are just working out nice and easy for me. And, in some ways they can kind of experience the benefits of my energy too. So you can carry, to a certain extent, right? You can carry people along with your good energy when you are the one controlling certain circumstances and stuff. So that's all I have for you guys today. This was kind of a longer episode, but I've broken it up into chapters. So I hope that it's easier for you to listen to. And I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send me an email, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and share. And I will see you guys in the next episode.